All right, everyone, I'd like to welcome you to the Verona Borough Regular Business Council meeting for Tuesday, January 12th, 2021. Please rise for the pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with justice for all.
Okay. Thank you. Roll call, Mr. Kenna.
President McCarthy will not be with us this evening. Dr. Carpenter.
President.
Mr. Forback.
Here.
Ms. Lualbo.
Here.
Mr. Matlin.
Present.
Ms. Provenza.
Present.
Mr. Suchovich.
Here.
Mayor Recupero.
Mayor.
Recupero.
Mayor, you're muted, Dave.
Sorry, present.
Mr. Alexander.
Here.
Mr. Finch.
Here.
I am also present.
Okay, I'd like to say something to clarify for people some new information. On Monday afternoon, Council received an email from President Pat McCarthy informing us of his resignation from Council and the Presidency, citing health concerns. I'd like to thank Mr. McCarthy for his 11 years of service to the town of Verona as the head of the Police and Fire Committee and as president for the last 12 months. As a result of Mr. McCarthy's resignation, I, as the vice president, am now the acting president, and as such, will be presiding at this meeting tonight. At this point, I'd like to hear the registered comments, and then I'll say more after that. Thank you.
So registered comments, the first person is Jeff Pepper. Jeff, go ahead. You're on.
Yes. Okay. Thanks. Could you hear me now?
Yes.
Thank you. Okay. Hi, everybody. This is Jeff Pepper, 5th Street Extension in Verona. I'm also the organizer of the Verona Pickleball Playing Group. Thanks for the opportunity to speak. I'll try to keep this very brief. The pickleball courts at Riverbank Park have been very successful. As you know, 2 years ago, there was no usage at all of the old tennis court. Thanks to new nets purchased by the borough, and thanks to a $12,000 resurfacing job last year that players paid for, we're now seeing 25 to 30 people playing every day during warmer weather. Some come from out of town, they play pickleball, and then often they stop at local businesses. Quite a few come from here in Verona. Both players are older, and these are people who really appreciate the opportunity to get some exercise and some social interaction during the pandemic. This winter, though, we've had some difficulty in using the courts. The main problem is that the courts are locked overnight, and we depend on the Verona police to unlock them every day. The Parks and Rec Committee recommended that the courts be unlocked by the police if there was no snow or ice on the ground. I thought that was a good idea, and it was also approved last month by council. It's a good idea, but it's ended up being unworkable because it leaves the decision up to the policeman on duty as to whether or not the weather is good enough to play. As a result, the players are frustrated because sometimes they come and they can't play. And the police officers are getting annoyed because they're taking too many phone calls and they're being asked to make decisions about whether the courts can be used, which they're not comfortable doing. So looking around at other outdoor public pickleball courts in the region, the county, other towns, every single one simply leaves their gates open 24/7, lets the players decide if they want to play or not. I strongly believe we should do the same thing at Riverbank Park. It's easy enough for us to put up a sign indicating that play is not permitted before 8:30 a.m. or 9 a.m. on Sundays. And the sign could also indicate that play is at the user's risk. There's already a place that we can put the sign, so it's pretty easy. Secondly, we want to be brought back. This was approved by council a month ago, but the Porta-John is still not there. And finally, there is a child safety hazard in the back of Riverbank Park, which apparently has been there for decades. There's an erosion under the fence down at the maintenance yard end. We've gotten a very attractive bid from North American Fencing to fix this if it's done at the same time that they do the other work that we've contracted with them to do. I know Janet is going to be discussing these things during her portion of the meeting. Just wanted to bring them all to your attention in the beginning. Thanks very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Pepper. I think that we will probably be addressing this during Ms. Albo's report on Parks and Rec. Is that correct, Janet? Yeah, okay. So we will be discussing this later in the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you.
Who's next?
Thank you.
Okay, next is John Brady. Who I don't see on the list of attendees.
Hold on. I don't either. So I just, if John's not here and he's not under another name, maybe we could just bring up Laura and ask her if there's a time concern or whether, well, I guess we could listen to her since Mr. Brady's not here. And use that time for her. Is that all right with
Or
everybody?
do comments from the public, either one.
Laura, you're on. Just
Okay,
need to unmute.
hey
Me?
Laura.
Oh,
Yes,
sorry. I didn't realize. Well, actually, first of all, I just lost internet connection, so I have no idea what you guys are talking about. I'm going to be honest. What's up?
well, you had written the email earlier today talking about a proposed plan with Tree
Oh,
Vitalize.
yes. Yeah, sorry. Again, my internet literally just now completely like disconnected for a second there. So I'm just now back on. Yeah, that was so we had gone over a like a proposal to plant trees in different parks like a while ago. We had ended up planting some in Railroad Park, as you all know, and now it's and the phase to plant some things in Cribs Park was delayed because of COVID. But now they're looking at, you know, getting things a little bit more underway again and, you know, evaluating Cribs for planting in the spring. And I had sent a diagram of where they suggested trees could go. So I just wanted to make sure that that was okay with everybody. I know Nancy had some concern about leaves, so it's my understanding that most, if not all of them, are some sort of evergreen that won't drop leaves, or some other sort of tree that isn't going to be dropping leaves. So, you know, that should be helpful for maintenance. It should be helpful for shade and erosion control. So I guess I would want to know if everybody's okay with the proposed trees, and then also if anybody thinks that where these might be in the way of where some of these renovations are going to be happening on the Cribs Pavilion. I know we had hoped that the pavilion would be done by the time these are getting in, but I think that also, again, due to COVID, has been delayed. So I wanted to make sure there wasn't going to be any interference there.
so a quick question, Laura. I had chatted this to you a minute ago. Is there a time frame that we're looking at with this?
They wanted to know, and he did just literally email me yesterday. So just letting you know, it's a very hurry up and wait sort of a thing, just like with so many things, I think. They want to know ASAP so that they can get their ducks in the row for spring. I mean, if you guys need to take some time to look at it, it's okay. You know, I totally understand. Of course, I would want to take some time to look at it too. I know I literally just sent it to you today. So we can deal with it over email if that's easier, instead of making everybody try and think about it tonight.
Yeah, how about if we take the next 2 weeks to look at it, and everybody please take time to look at her email, and then we can discuss it more and approve it on the 26th at the workshop.
I think that sounds good, because I have a timeline, so that's helpful. And again, like I would definitely most especially want to know if anybody has any concerns of these plantings being interfered with due to any of the renovations going on at the new pavilion.
I just forwarded the picture that you sent, Laura, to Matt to see,
thank you.
make sure that it's not going to interfere. And he just texted me and said, "Can you email it to me?" And I just did. So
Perfect.
we'll get together with him and make sure that it's not going to get in the way of anything with the new pavilion.
Thank you. And yeah, I think that this will be a really nice addition to the field. And I know Dave Matlin and I have been working on a watering plan, for example, for them as well, so that they'll be well cared for. And I think it'll just be, it'll just be a much needed beautification, and it'll provide much needed shade to that area, as well as replace some of those trees that have been taken down previously. So thanks, guys.
Okay, thanks, Laura. So I don't see that John Brady has joined us, so maybe he can get with us in 2 weeks.
Okay.
So
So
at this
then-
point, right, before we hear from comments from the public, I have learned over the many webinars and workshops that I've gone to that there's an option where you can allow for people to add additional agenda items that may have come up from the time that we post the agenda until the time of this meeting. I'm not suggesting that anybody add any agenda items that are major motions that we would be voting on. But before we hear from the public on agenda items, does anybody have any informational agenda items that did not appear in the original agenda that they'd like to add at this time?
Yeah, I have a brief update on county hauling that I was going to give in my portion, since we had some updates over the weekend.
Okay, great. I'll add that in. Anybody else have anything that's come up since Friday that they want to add to their agenda items? Okay, that's great. So now we will hear comments from the public. Please raise your virtual hand, and when you get elevated to panelist by Mr. Kenna, state your name and your address. That's very important. Limit your comments to 3 minutes as much as possible. And I see Rhoda or Donald Wharf.
Yep. You should be on. Just muted.
Yeah, unmute, please.
Okay, Rhoda Wharf, 636 3rd Street, Verona. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. Okay, the last meeting, I had asked if you could put a speed sign on South between 2nd and 4th because of the speeding cars. I have yet to see one. I'm pretty sure we have those signs in the garage saying 15 miles per hour or 20 miles per hour. Can that be addressed again?
So who can handle that?
Whose streets?
Well, that would be on the street department. I mean, Dave could look into that. He could get with Jerry to
Okay.
get the sign put up.
Yeah,
Yeah,
now
I'll
that,
talk to Jerry.
okay, can you do that?
Yep.
Okay, and then I thought the borough was going to get rid of the newspaper dumpsters because we're not profiting by them. And I thought they were going to be replaced by something else. So where are we with that?
Jerry, do you have any
Yeah,
idea
so
about
whenever
that?
we were going to get rid of them, we were having a really hard time. The company has changed hands a couple times, and we were having a really hard time getting them to come pick it up. Since the last time I was in contact with them, we don't seem to be having the problems that we've had. I know that Mr. Forbeck spent some time looking at other companies that could potentially come in to replace it instead of eliminating it. But I don't think they've been picking it up, and it hasn't been a problem. So
Yeah, but are we getting any credit for it?
Yeah.
For the tonnage?
Yes.
Mike, go ahead.
Yeah, well, we're getting, we're getting 904 credit, but the company in Springdale, they were willing to give us additional credit above, if the paper goes above a certain amount of money, they would give us that extra amount per ton. I really think we should go with this company in Springdale. And I'd have to look in my information that I had. You remember who it was, Craig, don't you? I mean,
I have it. I have the email. I don't know the name off the top of my head.
I really think we should be looking.
Stanton Paper.
Yes, thank you. I was having a senior moment there. Stanton Paper, that they, I think we should at least reach out to them and talk to the fellow, because he said he would give us the dumpster, everything free. We still have the 904 credit, and we have a chance to actually get additional money from per ton.
Do you think maybe if you set a deadline or a window that you maybe can accomplish that? Sometimes that helps if you plan ahead like that. Also, I'm sure you're making a list for paving the 800 blocks of 3rd Street. I had mentioned it before. There are several residents. Actually, that end never got paved. If you would be kind enough to look into that, it's the 800 block of 3rd. It's really bad, very bad. So I think I gave Dave, I gave you that list. I'm pretty sure I have it on that list. Okay. And also, I think it would be wise. I'm still waiting to see police on the ARB in the morning to slow down traffic, because I have yet to see it. Also, I thought maybe it would be a good idea to put those signs that Oakmont has about state law to slow down the traffic, and put definitely a marker by the post office, definitely. Can someone answer
Mayor, do you have any input, or Chief, on that, since you're here, Chief?
The chief and I had talked about putting a car there. That is a very bad, especially between 6:30 and by the time I come down, anywhere between 6:30, 7:30, 7:45, especially with big trucks running red lights and what have you. They should be there, they were told.
Can I make a suggestion, maybe to get
sit
out of
at
the
corner
car?
of and what's that?
Maybe if they would actually get out of the car and maybe stand at an intersection like South and ARB. Sometimes just being visible will slow you down, not just seeing a car, but seeing a policeman. I know that would slow me down. I mean, we try
I
it.
promise you that there will be more visibility with the officers there.
Okay. Also, isn't that a good idea?
I see it too.
Okay, but isn't that a good idea to have one of those signs that Oakmont has about the state law to slow down? That may help too at the post office.
What signs are you talking about, Rhoda? Is that in the crosswalks?
Yeah, well, yeah, they have them up in Oakmont on actually ARB and Allegheny Avenue.
That's because they're used for crosswalks.
Okay, we can maybe put one by the post. How about by the post office? That would be a great idea.
Matt, did you have something?
Yes, I did talk to PennDOT about those signs when we were talking about the pedestrian timing at Center Avenue. Those are not allowed at our intersections due to us having signalized intersections. Those intersections in Oakmont don't have pedestrian timing, so that's why they're permitted to use those in Oakmont.
Oh, that's great. Okay, and I've been looking for an ad for a manager, and I have yet, because I have papers every day, both papers, the Gazette and the Trib, and I have yet to see any ad. Am I missing something for a manager, or has it not been put in?
Greg has that
So
information.
it's in today's Tribune Review, which should also be in the Valley News, and it'll be
Get that one, okay.
it'll be in Sunday's Tribune Review as well.
Okay.
It's been sent to the Post Gazette, and I'm waiting to hear back from a lady named Kelly Starr, and to get a quote from them to get either in 2 days or just Sunday. But
it will absolutely be in Sunday's paper. And they are already online on both platforms, I believe, the Tribune and the Post-Gazette. I've seen the Tribune ad online a few days ago.
Okay, great.
Yeah, we received a resume from somebody from the Trib.
Okay, thank you so much.
You bet, Rhoda. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I saw John Brady on here for a second
Yeah, and he's going
with
again.
his hand up, and now he's gone, so maybe he has an unstable internet connection. We could continue with the meeting, and if Mr. Brady can get back on, we'll take his comments at the end of the meeting.
Okay.
Does that sound reasonable? Okay. So, oh, wait a minute. Joey's on. Joey has his hand up.
Okay. Go ahead, Joey.
Got on mute.
You're on mute, Joey.
Thank you all. I appreciate that. Joseph Warren from Vogel's Lane. I was hoping if I could ask in advance if there could be a detailed report from the police this evening in regards to the number of break-ins I've heard of secondhand. I'd like to hear firsthand about, and I understand something might be under investigation, but if there are any hot spots or if there's any frequency that I should be aware of or neighbors. I recently reported to the mayor that there was a string over the last 3 weeks of litter, like a trail of litter that came through Vogel's down to First Street towards the elementary school. And as I mentioned back in November, the entire hillside where the steps are were cleared and cleaned up. And I had shared again that was a hot spot for people to go around the corner and use at their own leisure. And when I had checked last week, there were a number of new items down there. And I'd like to ask that somebody share back, whether it's the chief or the mayor, what amount of foot traffic you've had within those steps. Anything, I guess, that's helpful for me to understand what to look out for in my part of the neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.
I did bring your question.
Go ahead, Dave.
Go
Sorry.
ahead.
No, I don't. You go.
Joey, I did bring your concern. I did bring the concerns that you had, Joey, to the police chief, and he was to pass it along to the officers. So if the chief has anything more to add to that, I'd appreciate it.
I'm not sure what we're talking about as far as break-ins and if you could kind of tell me what you're talking about, Joey.
I gotta, hold on. Hold on.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Hold on. Go ahead, Joey. You should be back on.
Thank you. For some reason, this meeting, I'm being switched over. It closes my app and reopens, Jerry, when you're signing as a panelist.
Yeah, Nance, Dr. Carpenter asked for this meeting to promote to panelists so that they can, so that people can use their camera if they'd like to. That's
Got it.
Yeah,
I appreciate it. Okay. Yeah, so there were a number of items that have been littered across the street and down the road from me. And I had heard from neighbors, and I understand it's been on social media, that there were vehicles where they had been, people opening doors, taking change, or people on property up near my home. And somebody had mentioned that was down by the other side of the river, or I'm sorry, the railroad tracks by the river. So rather than me assuming where this might be or what time of day it is or what street it might be on, I'd like to hear firsthand from the police department what you know for recent activities for people either in vehicles or in homes or anything. And I'm not sure what that is, but that's what I was hoping I could hear tonight during your report to understand what streets, what time of day would be very helpful so that I'm aware of what I could be on the lookout for on my side. Because like I said, I've understood there to be a trail of litter, whether it's open or broken Visine packages or alcohol containers or cans of soda of the same brand up and down the same street going to the same spot. So I can put two and two together, but I'd like to hear what the police department has found, what you've investigated, and what residents should know about for recent break-ins to vehicles or homes. I'm not sure, what you have to report. So I could get more detail. Thank you.
As far as the cars being entered and the car doors being checked, That's mostly been up in a couple of different neighborhoods, but up on 3rd Street and 4th Street. And that's usually around, from what we've investigated recently, is around 4 to 6 o'clock in the morning that this is occurring. But that's been several weeks ago. We haven't had anything recently. And that's, I mean, recently in the last few days or week. This group that was doing that was going all over the county in several communities. It was the same group. And I think quite a few of those were young kids in the teenage age. And there was another department that were able to make a couple of arrests, and that group seemed to have settled down quite a bit. And that I don't think anybody has had any recent car thefts from vehicles. But there are been some on some of the other streets in Verona, but not recently. That was all, like I said, 4 to 6 weeks ago. As far as trash and whether trash has anything to do to determine when people are coming in and out, I don't know how to determine whether trash is involved in people going into different cars. But we haven't had any kind of residential break-ins or injuries or anything like that, as far as I know, in a very, very long time. That helps with what you were asking for.
I appreciate that. Thanks, Chief.
Okay.
Thank you very much. I see Vince Flota has his hand up.
All right. Go ahead, Vince. You're muted.
Sorry, I was waiting for it to load back in. Vince Flota, 323 Penn Street. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
I just have 3 quick things. One is I would like council to discuss the Kinsey plaque tonight. I believe Matt's going to talk about the pavilion later. There was a plaque commemorating Dan Kinsey that was located on the old pavilion at Cribs. The contractor removed it, and I talked to the Kinsey family as a representative for the rec board about 8-9 months ago, maybe even longer, and asked them what they would like done with it, if they would like it returned. And both Dan Kinsey's son and his wife said that if possible, they would like it to be placed back onto the new pavilion building. So could you guys please talk about that tonight? And that's all I have to talk about that. I would like to let council know that there are people stealing political signs out of people's yards. They took my sign a couple days ago. I believe they took Kathy Maddox's sign. I did report it to the police. So could just let the police to keep their eye open for that. And the last thing is, I've talked to the mayor, Tim talked to the mayor privately, and I've talked to the police a couple times about a dirt bike flying up and down the streets down here in Verona, up and down Penn Street, West Railroad Avenue, and Arch Street at up to 45 miles an hour, and they're not obeying the stop signs or anything. It's not a street legal bike. It does it all times of the day, sometimes 10 o'clock at night, sometimes at noon. I have reported that the bike is a white dirt bike with red accents on it. And I also reported to the police that I saw whoever was driving the dirt bike put it into the garage at 332 Arch Street. The last time I did call the police, I did give them this information, and I believe that the officer went to Arch Street and knocked on the door and had a talk with them. So I hope that this came to some sort of conclusion or has some sort of closure with it. But I would just want to let council know what's going on down here in this neck of the woods. So, thank you very much, and that's all I have to say.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
I haven't, by the way, I live down here too, and I haven't noticed that bike in the last week or so. So maybe that helped. And if there's anything more, Chief, maybe when you give your report, you could address that if there's anything to address. Anyway, I don't see any more hands up, so I think we should move along with the agenda. There was a revised agenda that was sent out earlier today because of what I mentioned at the beginning of the meeting, the resignation of Mr. McCarthy. So I'm going to be dealing with a few things that have to be taken care of at the beginning of the year. But before that, I need a motion to accept Mr. Pat McCarthy's resignation. Can somebody please make that motion?
I'll
make that motion.
Okay, so motion made by Mr. Suchovich,
Second it.
Second by Mr. Forbeck. Are there any more comments or questions?
I'd like to make a comment.
Okay,
I'd like to thank Mr. McCarthy for his 11 years of dedicated service to the borough of Verona. And the last year as the president of the council. And I wish him the best of health as he moves forward with everything. That's all.
thank you. Thank you, Raymond. Any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the motion passes. And again, I ditto Mr. Suchovich's remarks. Again, thank you, Mr. McCarthy, for everything that you did for the town of Verona. The next thing that needs to be addressed is a nomination for the vacancy board. This is something that has to be done at the beginning of each year. And so I'd like to hear any nominations for vacancy board.
I'll make that nomination for Vince Floda.
Okay, we have one nomination for Vince Floda. Any other nominations for vacancy board?
I'd like to nominate Trish Resnick Showalter.
Okay, so we have Vince and Trish. Any other nominations? Okay, so the way I'd like to handle this is to is an up-down vote for each nominated candidate. So we're going to vote for each person separately rather than just saying the name. So the first person nominated was Vince.
So in this method of voting, the first 1 to 4 wins. Just,
Okay.
right?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you.
You bet.
So the first person nominated was Vince Floda. And I'd like to start with, let's see, where am I? Janet, your vote, yes or no for Vince?
No.
Okay. Next would be Sylvia.
For Vince Floda, yes.
Okay. Dave Matlin.
Yes.
Okay. Ray Suchovich.
No.
Okay. Mike Forbeck. Okay. And I'm going to vote yes. So we have a 3-3 tie.
So
Mr. Mayor.
does that go to the mayor first, or does that go to Trish? Vote
The mayor does have the right to break a tie on these types of nominations, so he would get a vote here.
They're both good candidates. I don't have a problem with either one of them. It's always a difficult decision when something like this comes up. So I've been doing this a long time. Excuse me. Been doing this a long time. I'm gonna go with Vince.
Yes.
Okay. So that's a yes for Vince. So that's a 4-3 for Vince. I agree with you, Mayor. I think they're both good candidates for the position. And that was a tough choice to make. Thank you.
It's always tough, no matter who it is.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
Congratulations,
so-
Vince.
Yeah, congratulations.
Yes, congratulations.
Yeah, Vince.
Congratulations, Vince.
All right, thank you, everybody. At this point, I would like to suggest and recommend that we go ahead and take nominations for president, vice president, and for president pro tem, which would be someone who would be third in charge if the president and vice president are not available at a meeting and there is a quorum. So are there any nominations for president?
I'll nominate Dr. Nancy Carpenter for president.
Thank you. Any other nominations for president? Okay, with no other nominations, I guess to make it official, we should vote. Go ahead, Janet.
Yes.
Thank you. Sorry, next is Sylvia.
Yes,
Thank you. Dave Matlin.
welcome.
Yes.
Okay, Raymond Suchovich.
Yes.
Thank you. And Mike Forbeck.
Yes.
Thank you. And I will vote yes. Thank you very much, everybody. So
Congratulations.
I guess right now then I am no longer the acting president. I'm actually the president of council. Is that correct, Craig?
Which creates a vacancy in your vice presidency, yes.
Right. So at this point, I'd like to take nominations for vice president, and I'm going to nominate Dave Matlin. Are there any other nominations for vice president? Okay, then,
I think you can do it, since there's no other nominations, it's fair enough to do it by voice vote.
okay, so all those in favor of Dave Matlin being vice president, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye. And since there's none opposed, correct,
Any
Craig, you're
opposed?
saying?
Ask
No,
if there's
no,
any
no.
opposed.
Okay, any opposed?
There you go.
All right, so that's a 6-0 for Dave Matlin for vice president. Thank you very much. And I'd
Congratulations.
also, I'm gonna take nominations for president pro tem, which is the third in charge. And I'd like to nominate Sylvia Provenza. Any other nominations for president pro tem? Okay, that being the case, all those in favor of Sylvia Provenza being president pro tem, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? All right, thank you very much, everybody. That went very nicely.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, thank you. So I just need to take a breath for a second here. And moving on. So what I wrote down next is to discuss the process that we're going to use to fill a council vacancy. My understanding is, technically speaking, we do not have to necessarily put an ad out and do all of that. We could just, someone could make a nomination tonight and we can vote on it. However, given that we're trying to be more transparent in what we do here with council, I am thinking, along with other people I've discussed this with, that putting an ad out, a brief ad, a very simple ad that would simply say, just like Oakmont did for Carrie's position, that would say, let's, anybody who's interested in council vacancy, please submit a letter of intent or a letter of interest to, probably, I think we should send it to Marcia's email. I'd also like to get this done, have the letters of intent by January 22nd, which is a Friday. So that would be 10 days from now. That should give everybody plenty of time to send in their letter of intent. And we can also put a text out to Curtis, and I'm going to take care of that tomorrow. And then that way we could, if we wanted to, we could have interviews of the people over that weekend and on Monday and Tuesday, and potentially vote at the workshop on the 26th. So that's my thoughts. It doesn't have to be that way, and I would like to hear other people's ideas.
I'm all for sending a letter out requiring people. I think that's a good time period. You know, depending on who we receive is going to be a determination whether or not we need to interview.
Okay, yeah.
So, I mean, it may be one person or two people, whatever, I don't know. So, you know, I would make that, you know, if.
My understanding, there's some stipulations, right, Craig? As to they have to live so long, and
I think they have to be a resident of Verona for at least a year, and they have to be a registered elector.
That's correct. Those are the two stipulations.
the two, right? Okay, thank you.
Yeah, and the reason why this is a short period of time, we have to make a decision in 30 days or go.
Now, we could potentially drag it out until the first meeting in February. I'd prefer not to do that, so that we can be functioning with a full council as we delve into dealing with an interim borough manager or a full-time borough manager and all the other things that we need to do at the beginning of the year here. So, but I still would like to hear any other input. I do think we should put in the ad about you have to live here for a year and you have to be a registered voter. Go ahead, Mike.
Term expires December 31st of this year.
That's what I was going to say. Thanks, Mike.
Okay,
That's exactly what I was going to say.
And yes, that is correct. It would expire December 31st. That's right. Any other thoughts or questions from anybody?
I think that timeline sounds pretty good. The Friday, I think you said the 22nd. I think the workshop meeting would be a good meeting to try to make a decision if at all possible, because I was looking at the calendar and I think the February meeting would be only a day or two before the 30 days would be up. So I think you know, we should try to do it, you know, expediently, but give people time to apply if they're interested, and try to advertise it, you know, like Oakmont's done. If we can do social media and the website, and you know, get it out on the text alert, and other methods.
So, Dave, I think you mentioned before that you could maybe put together a real quick advertisement for that, a real short and simple one.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, basically like what Oakmont has done. I mean, they're in the process of it now, and I think we could just mimic that, and it you know, like what people mentioned, Ray, as far as the requirements and Mike's suggestions as well. I think we could just incorporate all that and hopefully get it out tomorrow.
Okay, great. And I will take care of talking to Curtis about getting it on the text alert, and it can say what it said for Oakmont, except with a different link. Any other questions, concerns, comments about this process? All right, well then we're going to proceed in that manner at this point.
Nancy, real quick, who should these go to?
Okay.
Who are we?
Admin, we're sending the emails to admin@veronaborough.org.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Marcia will take care of disseminating the letters of intent to the rest of us.
Okay, thanks.
And I'll let her know that tomorrow as well. Okay, let me write that down. Okay, thank you. I just wanted to let the public know that when we have the opportunity, it's always good to announce an exec session ahead of time. These are strange times. So what I'm letting the public know is that we will be having an exec session on Thursday at 5:30 to meet with another candidate for potential interim borough manager. So I've done that. Now, in terms of the interim borough
Nancy?
manager, yes,
Nancy?
ma'am. Yes.
Excuse me, I didn't mean to interrupt, but I wanted to catch you before you went to another subject. Since we have someone coming in on Thursday, I would like to make a comment. I was given a name and I know this person. They're from Monroeville. And they have quite a history of political background, especially borough background. And he would be very, very interested in coming in to speak with us, either in person or virtually. He has actually done a number of manager interviews, and he has I have a list here of all the things that he has already done and is doing. And I asked if there was a charge for this, and he said, no, absolutely not. I would do it as a courtesy to Verona Borough.
Okay, Sylvia, that sounds wonderful. I wonder if you could please put together an email with the information that you just shared with us in a little more detail to council, and find out when he would be available to meet, and we'll see if we can get council together to meet him.
He is willing to work around our schedule. I've already asked him.
But
And if
can
you like, I can quickly read his.
No, I don't want to, you know, I would rather you just send everybody an email with the information, and I would prefer that we not use names at this point in the process.
No, I wasn't going to give the name. I had no intention.
So, yeah, if you could please send an email to everybody with all that information, I'd really appreciate it.
I'll take care of it.
All right, thank you. Thank
You're
you.
welcome.
So I don't have much more to add in terms of an update on the interim borough manager search, except to say that we did have an exec session today before this meeting. And we talked to a group from ALOM and, or a person from ALOM. And we are meeting, as I said earlier, at 5:30 on Thursday to meet with somebody else. Hopefully we can meet up with this person that Sylvia knows about. And we'll have more to update everybody on at the next meeting on the 26th. Now, all that being said, I'd like to make a comment about communication within and among the council. I'm just going to ask everybody to please check your emails frequently. They are confusing. I know we've had so many emails lately, and then something gets buried in a thread, and then it's not really on the topic of the thread. And if you don't check your email often, you're going to lose seeing some emails. I also ask that people please respond to the email if it's something that needs a response, or even just to say, got it, so that we're all knowing that everybody's read the emails, especially with this borough, interim borough and full-time borough searches that we're doing. It's very important that we all stay caught up in our electronic messages. So thank you very much for responding as soon as you can to the emails that we're getting here. And the only other thing at this time that I have is that I'd like to have an exec regarding county hauling after the meeting, and we don't have to return. That's it for me for now. Jerry, you're up.
Okay, first thing is meeting minutes were distributed by Marcia after the last meeting, which was the workshop on December 29th, 2020. And we would need a motion to approve those minutes.
I'll make the motion to approve the minutes.
Second.
Oh, that would be me, right? Any questions or comments on the minutes, corrections, anything? She sent a lot of corrections, so thank you all for reading them and sending in corrections. With no questions or comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, that motion passed. Next, Jerry.
The next is I sent out the checklist and bills payable list. We would need a motion to pay the bills.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, first by Mr. Suchovich, second. Second, Mike Forbeck. Any questions or comments about the bills? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, that motion passes. Next.
Okay, for the month of December, the recurrent real estate taxes were $378.30. Delinquent taxes, $984.90. Real estate transfer taxes, $1,617. Current year earned income taxes, $22,453.61. Current year local services taxes, $594.02. We need a motion to pay, or I'm sorry, to accept the tax collector and special taxes.
I'll make that motion.
Jerry.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Forbeck and second by, second? A
I'll second it.
Okay. All right. All those, any questions or
I
comments?
do have a question. Jerry, off the top of your head, do you know, it's the end of the year. Do you know how much we lost in earned income?
I
wanted to ask you that today and forgot.
You know what? I should have had that out. You know what? It's going to take me a second to open this file from 19. It's huge. I will get that for you before the end of the meeting.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, moving on to the treasurer's report.
So the treasurer's report, let me put it up here. For the month of December, we started in the general fund with $186,185.65. Our deposits were low this month, $36,577.35, which is typical for a December. Expenditures this month were unfortunately unexpectedly high, or non-typically high, $229,069.02. We transferred in from liquid fuels account the amount to cover the Second Street construction project. We got the amount from PennDOT that we were permitted to transfer. That amount was $133,425.76 for an ending balance in the general fund of $127,119.74. Just to give everybody, before you vote on this, an idea to explain why this was such a heavy December. We had some decently significant expenses that all came out here at the end of the year. We paid our portion of the repaving project at Diamond Way and Center, which was about $66,000. We paid a contribution to the police pension, which was approximately $46,000. There were the fire relief that passed through our account was $11,000 and change. We had a payment to the insurance company of about $11,000. So we just had a lot of stuff that all came due at the end of the year. And unfortunately, December is not a good revenue month for the borough, but we're still in good shape. We're still in a much better shape than we have been in the past in a December, January timeframe. So we're moving forward, but the treasurer's report's a little lopsided this month. So I just wanted to give everybody a heads up as to why.
I appreciate that very much, Jerry. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I need a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Mr. Suchovich, second.
I'll second.
Janet Loelbo, second. Any questions or comments?
Yeah, real quick, Jerry. So it does look like, you know, I know you talked about December. So for the year, for 2020, it does look like we're under budget on expenditures by about 20,000 or so.
Yes.
So That's good.
Yes.
Okay,
That's,
thanks.
that's fantastic. I have a question under the sanitary sewer account. Under expenses, the 163,000 is the amount that we have to pay out to Alcoasand?
I'm sorry. On the treasurer's report, the one,
Yeah,
yeah, the 163 gets paid to Alcoasand. That's the quarterly sewage payment that we make.
so making that quarterly payment, are we caught up with our payments? Why do we have $202,000 in that account?
Yeah, so there's been over the years, there's an amount of money that the borough takes in when so Oakmont Water bills for the water and sewage. There's I don't want to say a profit, but there's a margin there that the borough takes in that over the years we've saved to go toward the sewer projects that we've been working on.
Right.
So that's the amount that we have for sewer projects and whatnot.
So the amount that we get to keep, is that is that indicated in the deposits column, the 35,000?
The 35,000 for December is the amount that Oakmont Water gave us total.
Oh,
That's
okay.
that's not the breakdown on how much the difference.
Okay. But regardless, we now have $202,000 in the sanitary sewer account.
Correct.
Well, that's great. What are we going to use that for?
Well, Matt's got a couple big sewer projects coming up. We have the culvert repair on
Okay.
Wildwood. We have the camera. We have a match for the cameras for cameraing the community. And we
Okay.
still have a couple of sewer projects that are pending that need to be addressed. So
Okay.
that's what
Well,
those are.
I'm glad that we have the money to take care of that. That's wonderful. All right. So any more questions or comments? All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Opposed? Okay,
And I
wonderful. Thank you.
I have one more update, but I'll wait until after the report, the rest of the reports.
Okay, so the police chief report. Here,
Chief, you're muted, but
Chief, you're muted.
Told myself not to do that, and I did it anyway.
Okay,
We received 99 complaints, 15 crimes reported, and 12 cleared. We have 2 arrests. Crimes code summaries none were issued. We had 37 vehicle code summaries issued, 13 borough code summaries issued, and 15 borough parking tickets issued. Our revenue sources: magistrate's fines collected was $603.47. We had $80 in borough fines and fees collected, $30 in police reports purchased. Municipal fines was $17.88 for total fines and fees collected is $731.35. And then we had another $25 in parking permit fees. And that's the end of my report. I want to address the 2 of the issues that were brought up tonight. The gates getting unlocked at the park. We're more than willing to do whatever the council wants us to do about opening the gates. We've just been told so many different things. It's just been hard to try to determine when we were supposed to unlock them and when we weren't supposed to unlock them. And that's basically the only issue. As long as we can get that settled down into one thing, it would be perfect. And
we're gonna address that tonight.
And the motorcycle issue down there below the tracks, and the parents were talked to, and I think that should be taken care of. That's all I have.
Great. Okay, thank you. So I would need a motion to accept the police chief report.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Suchovich, second.
Second.
Second by Dave Matlin. Any questions or comments? Okay, with no questions and comments, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Aye. Any opposed? Okay. Oh, geez. Okay, I have no problem with accepting the police chief report, but I just wanted to make an observation. Despite this very bizarre year with COVID, it looks like the income from the police it's slightly down, but it's not horrible. It looks like where we may have missed the mark the most is with municipal fines. And I think the reason is because we were backing off handing out fines and tickets and things like that for a while. Chief, is that why it's only $111 this year and it was $2,200 last year?
That could be some of the issue. It's also the amusement fees or amusement device permit fees, in that most of the businesses were not open all year.
Right, but that shows on your report for 2020 and 2019 to be exactly the same.
Yeah, I don't know where the 2020 figure came from, to be honest with you.
Okay, well, it's also, I'm guessing, partly because the courts were closed for
They were closed for quite a while.
Yeah,
And
okay. I mean, we're still down by about $3,500, which isn't great, but it's not as bad as it could have been, is what I'm saying. Okay, all right, thank you. That's all of the police report. The next is the fire chief report.
For the month of December, we had 12 fire calls. For the year, we had 111 calls.
Okay. Anything else to add, Mr. Suchovich?
No, ma'am, everything's good. Thank you.
Okay, need a motion to accept the fire chief report.
I'll make a motion to accept the fire chief.
Okay, motion by Janet Loalbo, second.
I'll second.
And second by Dave Matlin. Any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, EMS report.
It doesn't look like Jamie's on. He said that he was going to be on the third truck, so he wasn't sure he was going to be able to, but I'll read the report. So for the month of December, they had 9 ALS calls, 6 BLS calls, 6 refusals, 0 canceled, 1 fire standby, 2 lift assist, 3 false calls, 1 non-patient, no patient, 1 private vehicle, and 1 deceased on arrival. Total 911 calls in Verona was 31. Their overall total calls for December was 352. Total calls in Verona as of 12/31 of 20 was 446. And their total volume year to date for 2020 was 4,229 calls.
All right, thank you. I would need a motion to accept the EMS report.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second.
I'll second it.
Second by Mr. Forbeck. Any questions or comments? All right. Then all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, no opposed. Mr. Kenny, you said you had something else?
Yeah, two things. To answer Mr. Suchovich's question earlier, our earned income taxes are down $66,748.47 over last year. So it's been substantial. Fortunately, we did get that $60,000 grant from the CARES Act, so that definitely helped. That definitely helped cover the difference there.
Was there anything else where we were a plus in the plus column?
Yeah, our real estate taxes for the year were actually $68,000 or so over what we collected last year by this point. So people paid their real estate taxes more timely this year. And local service taxes was actually just about the same, about $3,000 less than last year. So overall, the tax what we brought in taxes was pretty much the same, little bit shy. Plus, we had that $60,000. So we did okay.
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
Yep. The only other thing I want to bring up, and I think Ray is going to bring it up, but I figure I'll just address it. We have been waiting for one report for the 2019 audit, and the amount of phone calls and emails. I finally got somebody on the phone today, and the report we were waiting for was from Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System. They handle our non-uniform pension. We needed a year-end report for 2019. Finally got a hold of somebody today, and apparently they are in the middle of a system upgrade and haven't sent out any reports since 2018 and have no idea when they will be able to. So I spoke with the auditor. They're moving forward. They're going to put a note in there that Pennsylvania Municipal Retirement System was unable to provide us with that report, and they're moving on. So the DCED report should be filed within the next day or so, and I will send it out to council as soon as I have possession of it, and we should be good to go. And they are going to get started right away and have the 2020 audit done before the initial deadline, which is May. So that's
wonderful.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
Anything else?
That's all I have.
Okie dokie. So moving on to the mayor's report. Mr. Mayor.
You're muted, Dave.
Sorry about that.
There you go.
First of all, thank Mr. McCarthy for his time on council and being president, and likewise, I hope his health improves, and we'll move on from there. Second of all, I'd like to congratulate all the nominees that got positions this evening also. Couple things with Cribbs Field. One, I guess, construction, I'm sure Matt will bring that up, and the gate was already discussed, and I'm sure Janet's going to bring that up some more also. As far as police, we had an officer that left, Officer Fred Hockenberry. He got a full-time job elsewhere, and I sure would have loved to interview him last year for the position. He was with us maybe 6 months before he moved on to a full-time position. He was very well liked the little time that he was here with the communities and with the kids. He was pretty involved with the kids. You know, as he seen them on the street, he'd always stop and get to know the kids. So I'd like to wish him good luck in his new position. And as far as what's in the budget, we are going to hire a new full-time officer. I put in for a full-time officer. I'm going to wait till we get probably wait till February till we get a borough manager in place. So it's maybe less confusing as far as the, money and what have you and everything else that we're doing. And there is Officer Appreciation Day in the budget. It was asked to me, to put it in. The residents wanted it. We had it was a community meeting, and there was about 25 people there. And they all wished that they asked me if we could have one, and I said absolutely. It was in the budget last year, but unfortunately the COVID came and we didn't have nothing. We'll see what happens this year. And also there's in the budget I put for a new speed sign that we could place throughout the town. We do have one on Allegheny River Boulevard over by the barbecue place there for traffic coming into town. But this new one that we'll get, we'll be able to place it throughout the town, just like we did the other town, or I mean, the other sign that we had. And that's about it for now.
All right.
Let's see. That's all I have right now.
Okay. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Mr. Pitch.
Thank you. Just to run through my report, for the work that was completed on Ridge Avenue. I submitted to DCD for the reimbursement on that, so that's in the works there. The First Street reconstruction grant that was sent to the paper today, the bid opening is scheduled for February 18th. So I'll be making sure to contact contractors, including Holbein that did Second Street, so we get some good bids on that project. The CDBG demos for 4th Avenue, the bids were open on those yesterday. The bids came in rather low for all communities. So out of the original anticipated $30,000.
Oh, wow. Something's happening with your mic, maybe? Let's all go on mute. Let's all go on mute except for Matt, okay?
Is that better?
Your earbuds are providing some bad feedback for some reason.
Okay. Is that any better? Okay, sorry about that. So the demolitions for 4th Street, the bids came in low, so I'm gonna work with the COG in the county to see if we can't add another demo onto that. We don't know if the county will approve of it, but we're gonna try since we'll have some money left over. The work at Cribbs Field's underway. They started the demo of the pavilion. I did talk to Dave today about the possibility of opening the play equipment. So he'll be talking more about that. But if we need the contractor to fence anything off or anything like that, we'll make sure that that can happen. The sanitary lining, the CDBG 46 along 1st Street. The contractor is just submitting his final paperwork with the county, and that will be proceeding before we do the street reconstruction. And just some of the other things are in various stages of planning and design. And then we awarded the tree trimming to Jack. They did reach out to me, let me know that that's going to be a several-day project for them. So whenever they're getting ready to schedule it, they're going to give me about a week's notice ahead of time. And then I will make sure I share that with everyone on council. And that's all I have unless there's questions.
Yeah, I
Matt,
have one question.
Yes, sir.
The
Ray,
1st
go
Street
ahead.
project, did you get a hold of Oakmont Water and People's Gas about their lines?
Yes, so I talked to People's Gas. They have no other planned full line replacements right now. As for the next few years in Verona, they're only on potential leaks. They don't have any planned projects. And as far as Oakmont Water goes, other than Diamond Way, they didn't have any full line replacement projects going.
Very good, thank you.
I will be reaching back out to them though, because I'm sure there might be some utility adjustments with going from the uneven brick to the nice paved surface, but I'll make sure we coordinate that.
Very good, thank you.
I have a question, Matt.
Yes.
And this involves Jerry also. I'm confused because I remember when we were going over the budget, there was something about, Jerry, that it wasn't really 230, but there was something about 235 total. What is it I'm thinking of there with that, with the for Cribs?
Gary, you're muted.
Yeah, keep doing that. It was the Cribbs Field grant. So the grant was awarded a maximum of $200,000 of grant money plus the local match. So our total project can be as high as $235,000, and the state will give us $200,000. So that's why Matt's been working on trying to add additional things like the T-drain, the LED lighting, other things around the park that we can include in that scope of work so that we can maximize the $200,000 grant that we'll receive from the state.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yes, that makes sense, but it's not adding up to what it says on Matt's report.
I have a typo there. The 30,000 that I have as the match is actually should be 35,000.
Okay, wonderful. Thank you. And then Mayor, you have a question?
Yes, Matt, on the construction on the ball field, is there a timeline when they're gonna be done with it?
I don't have an exact time frame right now. As for the start, right now, it was all kind of weather depending. We're hoping to basically have everything done probably to go for sometime in April. I'm going to be working with the contractor over the next few weeks to kind of lock down a schedule. It really, until he has like under roof, it was kind of hard for some of the finishes to be done. But hopefully within the next week or so, I can get a better schedule to council.
Yes, I'd appreciate that, because I just don't want it to be dragged out like the Second Street project was.
No, I had already had some preliminary conversations with him that there was some possible events coming up. So he's aware that we're under somewhat of a time frame. I don't want to say we'll be done in March and then it be slightly longer than that. But I'll definitely have that conversation and try to lock down a better time frame.
Yes, I appreciate it. And I do understand the weather. We're in the same business, and I know the weather right now, especially this time of year, plays a big factor in that. But we got to take advantage of all the good days that we have to really get that thing up, because there's events coming up, you know, with the 150th and what have you. And we need to get that done. And baseball starts in, April, early May and what have you, for the junior leagues.
Yeah, and I think that he's understanding, and we'll have most of that done. Especially the hard work like the concrete and the block. That really doesn't, the weather doesn't affect that too much, other than rain or a foot of snow. The more sensitive things are kind of
right.
The drywall and the paints that we kind of have to wait for a little bit better.
Right, I understand. Thank you.
Okay, thanks. I have another question. The 11,520 for the tree trimming, is that below the threshold that we have to make an approval for, or did I miss something with that?
We
We
had
need to
did that in
vote.
a previous meeting. Off the top of my head, I think it was the first meeting in December. We had voted and approved that.
Oh, we did. Okay, because your wording in here made me think that we hadn't done it yet, but if we've done it, that's fantastic.
I'm sorry, I do see where I left the statement in there, recommend award, but no, we had voted and awarded it to Beaver Jack, and I had been in contact with them. As per our specs with some of the oak trees, they have to be trimmed between December and April. So they are aware of that time frame. And as soon as they have some time open up in their schedule, they're going to let me know.
Okay. Dave Matlin, did you have a question or comment?
Yeah, quick question, Matt, on the demolition bid opening yesterday, because I saw the bid tab from COG. I noticed that they were way lower than the other bidders. Do you have any idea why, or is it just
So I talked to some of the other engineers in the office, and the company called Everready. We've done some work with them years ago, nothing recently. So we do have some calls into their references. One of the reasons I think it came up so cheap as it did, both of them are right next to each other. And then the next occupied structure is 60, 70 feet away. So there's not a lot of finesse required. They can kind of get in there and just go wild. The other thing was, once the asbestos surveys were completed, there's no asbestos removal required. So that eliminates $5,000 to $6,000 off of it. I was still a little skeptical of it, so we're definitely going to check their references.
Okay, thanks. And that's for you said that's for the 4th Street, the two houses on 4th Street.
Correct. The two towards the end there, 866 and 870.
Yep. Okay.
This is really great news. We've been waiting for this grant for like 2 years, I think now.
We have, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
Thanks,
okay.
Matt.
Thank you.
I think Janet had a question.
With that Kinsey plaque, Matt, do you know, was that taken down and saved, taken down to the borough building?
It was, and all I have to do is just schedule AJ to pick it up. The contractor has it. It may need some cleaning, and then we just have to discuss where we would like to put it back up on the new pavilion.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Pitch? All right, great, wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Mr. Alexander.
Thank you, President Carpenter. Couple of things. Obviously, there was a lot going on with Pat's resignation, and that took a lot of time and effort over the past few days. Mr. Matlin indicated that he's going to speak on county hauling in his report. So I will say that I sent a letter to county hauling, which all of council had the opportunity to review before it went out, but I'll weigh in once Dave makes his comments if I have anything further on that. With regard to pending legal matters, there are 2 resolutions that need to be considered tonight. One is a resolution. It's just a pass-through resolution to raise the sewer rates to the same level that Alcoasand has raised its sewer rates. We do it every year. Jerry contacted me a couple of weeks ago and asked me to put the resolution together. Alcoasand is going up 7%, so the borough passes that increase on to the residents. There's no way to absorb that. It's a resolution of the Borough of Verona, County of Allegheny, Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, amending and setting sewage collection fees within the Borough of Verona for the year 2021. And again, we do this every year. It's a 7% increase imposed by Alcoasand. It raises basic service to $12.37 per thousand and $24.79 per bill issued quarterly, or $8.27 monthly.
Okay, so I would need a motion to accept the resolution for the increase in the Alcoasand rates.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, thank you. First made by Mr. Suchovich, second.
I'll second.
Second by Dave Matlin. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, resolution passes.
Okay, and the second thing I think Jerry referenced a little bit in his report, it's a resolution with regard to the police employee pension plan, and it was sent to us by the people that
Walk and hop.
Yeah,
Walk and
our
hop that
auditors.
handles the police pension. This is a resolution we do every year as well.
And all it is a resolution saying that the police shall not be required to contribute to their pension this year, but may be required in future years. You do it every year. It's a resolution of the Borough of Verona relative to the establishment and maintenance of employees' pension, annuity, insurance, and benefit fund or funds to amend the police employees of said borough. And then it says, be it resolved, effective January 1, 2021, and continue through and include December 31, 2021. The amount of participant contribution shall be 0% of compensation. The obligation to pay participant compensation pursuant to Act 600 in the amount specified herein shall resume effective January 1, 2022.
All right, very good. I guess I would need a motion to pass the resolution regarding the police employment pension.
I'll make a motion to pass the resolution.
Okay, there are a lot of you talking. I heard Sylvia for the motion, second.
I'll second.
Okay, all right. I saw your hand, Mike, but I didn't hear your voice. We'll get you next time.
Okay.
All those in
I can
favor,
score.
please say. All those in, oh no, any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that resolution passes.
Thank you. That concludes my report. I just wanted to say to Pat, good luck. I hope you feel better. And Nancy, Dave, and Sylvia, congratulations on your leadership roles.
Thank you, Craig.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Okay, moving on, we have Mr. Matlin.
Thank you, Madam President. Yeah, I'd just like to echo the others who've spoke about Mr. McCarthy's service. I'd like to thank him for his service the past 11 years and his service as president the last year. And I wish him good health, to him and his family, moving forward. As far as the county hauling update, as Craig indicated, he did issue a letter to county hauling, a notice of default based on what council had discussed, and Jerry and Marcia had done a good job with compiling a lot of the complaints and issues, the violations, and basically we've started to dock them for their liquidated damages, which are basically fines that we can levy against them, against their security deposit that they have with the borough. So I don't remember the total, but I believe it's several $1,000s out of their $15,000 deposit, and put them on notice that some of at least one of the violations is warrants possible termination, and that we reserve the right to do that in the future. So we put them on notice. We're gonna keep an eye on them, and I believe the letter stated every 30 days we were going to review their performance going forward and make sure that they are rectifying the issues that we've outlined. So I appreciate Mr. Alexander, Mr. Kenna, and the work of council to get this together and review it and get it out. So I think we'll just have to keep an eye, and hopefully there's improvement, and hopefully if not, we get, I would encourage any residents to keep logging their complaints. If there's a missed pickup, the first thing to do would be to contact county hauling and let them know, so that they can rectify it and recover that pickup. They are required to do that within a pretty short amount of time if they're made aware, and also to let Marcia know, and you can include Jerry and myself or other council members on that if you wish, if you're sending an email. But let us know if there's still concerns out there whenever they arise. So I think that's it. I don't know if Craig, there's anything else to say about that that you would add.
I thought that was a very good summary. I think that sums it up completely.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Danielle?
On the email, Dave, I will say that one of the last issues, the most recent issue, was the spillage on 3rd and Wood, as well as 3rd and South. That happened on Thursday. An email was sent by Marcia to the county hauling. They said they were going to have somebody out right away. I followed up to that email and said that it needed to be done that day. If not, it was going to be done by our crew the next day, and they were going to be responsible for the costs. They did not come out and clean that up. So our crew went up with the street cleaner and pressure washer and cleaned it up. The Rich Walton, I believe he's the CEO of the company, emailed responding to Craig's letter on Friday that he was going to have somebody come out right away. I informed them that we already had that done, and then that was not acceptable for them to leave that like that. He replied back and said that he's going to do what he can, everything he can do to make sure that the community is satisfied. That's the last we've heard from them. I don't know if it's, more promises that they won't be able to deliver, but we're watching. And if they don't improve, we'll continue to dock them until council decides it's time to pull the plug.
And one other thing I think I want to bring up really is that we're also looking at cost recovery for any property damage or anything that the borough has to repair too. Is that correct?
That is correct, including residential property and borough property.
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I forgot about that, but that was included in the letter. And, I know that there's been several instances of that were brought up. So that was included. And another, I don't know if Jerry, if you'd seen it, yesterday I did hear back from Bob Geiselhart. He had a missed pickup last week. He's contacted County Hauling numerous times. They said that they would recover it. They did not recover it. So I think, they need to be notified about that.
Yeah, and I think the standard deduction is like $5 for a miss.
Yeah.
However, I think when it's consistent like this, there's other things that we can do. So I'll get with Craig and see what we can do to try to remedy that.
Yeah, thanks.
And-
I think it sounds like on ARB, he may not be the only one that's getting missed. I don't know if if Marcia's gotten any other complaints from other residents on ARB, but I think we should keep an eye on that, because it sounds like they've repeatedly done that, and make sure that they rectify that, or will take further action. So
sounds like the only way you're going to hit them is hit them in their pocketbook.
Right.
And if they can keep giving you all the lip service they want until you hit them in their pocketbook, I think that's what we have to do.
Yep, I agree.
So there's some other specifics I think that we need to address, and that's why I was calling for the exec session. Hopefully it won't take too long after the meeting.
The only other, I forgot I didn't add this, but I don't know if Janet was going to mention it, but the playground gate at Cribs, we had discussed this previously, and I was up there the other day, and there is a gate to the playground area only, from the north, kind of the back side, I guess be the north side of fencing, that we could potentially just lock the other two gates going into the field from the playground. We could lock those and open that outside gate to the playground, so that people could use the playground even when Cribs is closed during the winter, which I understand we do, to try to minimize impact to the field in the poor weather conditions. So I know that there was maybe some concern about the construction activity. I talked to Matt about that, and I don't know. Matt didn't seem to think that there was too much of a concern, as long as that there's no access to the construction area. I know, Mike, you brought up potential for lead or asbestos, but I think Matt seemed to indicate that probably wasn't too likely given the age of the structure. So I just think maybe in along the lines of what we're talking about with Riverbank as far as opening and closing, I just wanted to bring it to council's attention that we may want to consider opening the playground area when we can, so that kids have a place to play, even in the winter. There's been some nice days recently, and everyone's cooped up at home. So that's that. This is for a future meeting. I think I'll try to bring it up maybe at the workshop, is the landscaping contract for this year. We've budgeted for it. I think we can just basically renew, or not renew, but take the contract from last year, maybe update it as we need to, and put it out for advertisement. So I'll talk to the garden club and see if they have any thoughts on how it went last year and any improvements. I think it went well last year, and I think we could do pretty much the same, but I'll look at that further and get with them and bring it up for council at a future meeting. So I think that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dave. Now, I'm still on this agenda under ordinances, and I don't really have anything to add about that since the last meeting, because we did not meet in December. We will be meeting again on January 25th. And then once we fill the vacancy, some of the committees will be changing. So we'll see how that goes. The only thing why I kept myself on the agenda in this spot is in case there was anything that I forgot. There really isn't anything that I can think of that I forgot, but I did want to just mention in relationship to communications, so that the public knows, I did write an email the following day after December 29th, expressing my extreme disappointment in the fact that even after we voted to go ahead and interview people for an interim borough position, when I went back to Mr. Shields, he was no longer interested in helping us out in that way. So I know that people have expressed some concerns, and I just hope that in the future, when people have concerns of this nature about someone that we're considering hiring, that they would be willing to share those concerns specifically, because I still don't know what the concerns were about Mr. Shields, and I'm open to hearing what they were. But that is somewhat water under the bridge. So that's all I wanted to say in that particular slot. And the next to report is Mr. Forbeck.
Hey, thanks, Madam President. Thank you, past President McCarthy, for being here for 11 years and giving a lot to the borough. We appreciate your efforts, and God bless you, and I hope your health returns to you. So thank you. Regarding the borough manager search committee, we met, Ms. Trevenza, Mr. Suchovich and I met last week. After the ad went into several publications, including online Indeed, we outlined a procedure in which we developed questions that were interview questions that we were considering, that we got both from from several sources. Dave Matlin did a lot of research. Some of them from questions that I've done for many years of interviewing for government positions, and also specific to the job description. Our process is going to be, we're going to meet again tomorrow. We have been going to go over the batch of resumes that we received. We received over a dozen resumes so far. We're going to basically prioritize these based on whether or not they, as a first brush, whether or not they really meet the needs of what we're looking for and who we want to interview. And to those who aren't even on, shouldn't really be considered. So once that's done, we're going to be starting a preliminary interview process for some of these folks to vet these. We're going to be still getting far more, or hopefully far more resumes in. And once that's done, then it will be, once those few that are selected, we go before council for the final interview, is what the process is, what we envision. That may be tweaked a little bit here and there, but that's kind of what we're going through. We are going through this very, we want to meticulously, and we want to make sure that we have a really good candidate or candidates to present for council for interview. So it's great news that we got a lot of resumes so far, and I think it's was just put into the Trib and will be in the Post Gazette. And I got one resume from the Trib today when it was just posted today, so that's a good sign. The job description, we had sent around to council the final, or the job description that for the borough manager that Dr. Carpenter and Dave Matlin and I worked on. All the comments to date, I included Craig's comments, also dealing with the job description. And it's a point that we should probably be finalizing this so that we can get it within to be through the ordinance, correct, Craig? So we have to do I have to codify through ordinance. So Dr. Carpenter, I don't know whether we're positioned to accept this now, or do you want to have another review of this job description?
I don't know that the three of us need to review it again. It's been sent out to everybody on council, yes. And I believe that we wanted to have some discussion. I think we resolved the bonding limits so that The only other two issues were the top amount of money that the manager can spend. I talked to Jerry about that today, and we were thinking that we could put the 2,500 in there for monthly operating costs, and then that way, every time he spends more than 2,500, he doesn't have to. You know, there's monthly bills that are more than 2,500. There's monthly bills that are more than 5,000. Right. There's actually a monthly bill that's more than 10,000. So he would not have to, the borough manager would not, or anybody, or Jerry, or whoever it is, would not have to ask for permission or approval, I mean, for over $2,500, unless it was something outside that purview of monthly operating costs. Does that sound right, Jerry, what we talked about?
Basically what I had said was, you know, you could do 2,500 or you could do 5,000. The key to both of those numbers is that you're going to have to put something in there to exclude normal operating expenditures. Like I said earlier, we just sent a check to the insurance company for $11,315. That's a quarterly bill, but to come back to council and say, hey, can we pay the insurance premium, is kind of silly. However, whenever there's something substantial, you know, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000 that is not a typical expenditure, I typically bring it to council anyway, mainly to cover myself. I don't want to spend money and then they come on one of these reports and what the hell did we pay $7,000 to, you name the vendor. So I try to keep council informed on that kind of stuff anyway. I think you could get away with 2,500. 5,000 would require less of council's time. But you would have to, I think it would be better to put some sort of exclusion in there for typical operating expenditures.
Okay, so then it sounds like we have to modify this again and add that language to that.
Right. But it would just be a few words. We could put in no more than 2,500 except for monthly operating costs. That's all we would have to put in there as far as I can tell. Okay. And then the other part that we wanted to talk about, I think Craig weighed in on the language at the end of it about physical demands.
I did.
Yeah.
And that's what was
so. Yeah, so we could maybe just through email add that change, add Craig's change, which I think maybe you already did, Mike. Yes, send it back out to council, and then on the 26th, we could, you know, everybody will have a chance to look at the final copy.
Perfect.
And we could, you could make a motion at that time. Okay. For us to vote on the final job description.
Sounds like a plan. We'll do that.
Okay.
You want to make a motion now to authorize me to advertise the final once you guys approve it?
That's a good idea.
I'll make the motion.
Motion to advertise once we have
advertise and finalize plan.
Okay. Once it's approved.
Second.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes.
Okay, and the last thing, and I was remiss the last year, but I did want to thank all the firemen and fire and police and first responders and thank them for the protection they gave through the whole for the year and a safety and really peace to us in the community. A lot of times it just goes for granted, you know, that these folks are out there doing this. And certainly whenever we make a phone call, we want them to be there immediately, and they are. You guys do a great job, and I apologize for not saying it last time, and I thank you very, very much for your service. So thanks. And that's it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Forback, and I ditto that last statement that you made.
Yes.
Next is finance, then Mr. Suchovich.
Well, Mr. Kenneth took my thunder as far as the audit and as far as the engagement paper for the 2020 get that started. I do have one more thing. I don't know if this is where we want to bring it up now about the accounting and the treasurer proposals. We sent out we had a list of for the accounting and the treasurer jobs. We sent out and we got 3 bids back. They were mailed out to each council person today, emailed out, I mean. And I don't know if we want to act on this tonight. Does everybody get time to look at the bids? You know, Madam President, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think for me personally, I only remember seeing 2. So is this something that we need to take to exec, Mr. Solicitor? No?
Hold on. I didn't know if I was muted. I'm sorry. It's something that you can take to exec. If you want to discuss it further.
It seems like it could be in personnel.
Right.
Yeah.
Except, technically, the treasurer wouldn't be an employee; he'd be a consultant, or would he still be an employee?
Well, I don't know. I'm deferring to your.
Well, we'll have
advice.
to do it tonight if we already have Connie Hulling on our exec agenda. But why doesn't everybody review the proposals, and if we have to talk about it on the whatever 4th Thursday of the month or next month, we can do that.
Very good.
Okay, but the point is that we're getting some other information about it.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay. Anything else, Mr. Suchovich?
That's all I have, other than like I stated earlier about Mr. McCarthy. Thank you for your time and lots of luck to you with your health.
All right, thank you. Ms. Balbo.
Thank you, Mr. President. I do want to thank Mr. McCarthy too for his time and service here. Working with Pat, I did learn a lot from him in my first years, and I will miss him. I know one of the things he always said to me is, like, Janet, health and family come first, when there were different concerns that I had. So I do wish him well with his health and with his family as well. And I always say thanks, Pat, for your time and service with the borough. The first thing I have is the Riverbank Park openings. I know there's been some confusion with the opening of the gates, especially with the winter time. I know the pickleball people have expressed that they would like to have the gates open, 24/7, as other parks do. I know some parks that I've researched as well, not all of them are open 24 hours, but I personally have some mixed feelings about keeping it open, only, with vandalism and, some of our parks in the past. I mean, we could try it, keeping the pickleball court unlocked. We can see. Riverbank, let's open it up every day unless there's a foot of snow out there, So we, said we're going to open it up. We can open up in the morning, close at night. But I think pickleball, if they're going to start to play, I think 9 o'clock is early enough. Just to be respectful to the residents in the neighborhood, especially on the weekends, if they're sleeping in, things like that. I mean, that's my input, maybe 8:30 the earliest. That's what I was thinking. Someone said close it at 10 o'clock at night. I mean, that's dark. Summertime, 9 o'clock, 9:30, but you can still do dusk for right now, if we choose to close the park, lock them up.
Correct me if the motion the council made last month to leave it open or open it during the winter, wasn't it weather permitting? Was the verbiage weather permitting, or was it unless of snow and ice?
Snow and ice came up, but we did say, I thought we said weather permitting.
Right.
I think that's where the confusion is, because the day I think was in question, it was like 43 and rainy. So I think that's the confusion the police are having, is whether to open it up when it's raining. Typically, we don't open the parks when it's raining.
So
So-
here's my 2 cents. I think that everybody's definition of weather permitting is different. And I think that what Mr. Pepper was referring to earlier is, and the chief, because of their confusion, is to just come up with a time and just make it that time. And then we can be clear with the police, and the police don't have to figure out whether or not it's weather permitting. Now, the other question, as I recall, that came up is the question of liability. And, you know, you can't prevent everything, but I would hope that the pickleball players would heed the warning, play at your own risk, that we need to put that sign up. And I think if I recall reading Mr. Pepper's email, that they're willing to take responsibility for putting that sign up. And then on a day that was in question, when it was 43 degrees, it was a little wet on the courts, I guess. When I looked out my window, the street was dry where I lived. So I was confused by it. But, you know, I think that we just tell the police, open it at 8 or whatever, 8:30, whatever, and close it at 9, winter, spring, summer, fall. And then the police have no confusion. The people play at their own risk. And if you're going to open pickleball, you need to also open the playground. So if there's a few inches of snow, kids like to go to the park and play in the snow. I mean, I don't see the problem with that. I can see how a little kid might want to try to slide down the slide with snow on it. That could be fun. I don't know. I just say open them up, close them, and do the same thing for Cribbs Field. And then hopefully people have their own common sense to stay home if there's a foot of snow. That's my 2
That
cents.
sign, is the sign sufficient to shield the borough from liability?
I addressed that in my memo. I mean, signage helps to defer liability, but it's not an absolute. You could still get sued, but you could still get sued no matter what anybody does. There's always going to be liability risks. That's why you have insurance. And I think the risk is minimal with regard to these pickleball courts. Unlike, say, what are those BMX and
Motocross.
yeah, bike. So that's my opinion is the risk is minimal versus the benefit.
Okay.
I personally, number one, Cribbs Field, I don't think you should open if the weather's bad because of the ball players. Because nobody will stay out of the dirt, the infields. So that's why you want to keep them fields closed. But I can see what you're saying about opening it. Open a playground up. I don't have a problem with that, like with the new gate and that. As far as the pickleball court, if we put a sign up and open it, that's fine. I just have a question about what time we open it for them, because there is still residents down there if we open it too early. That's the only question I have.
I just wanted
Like to make a
clarify. I was not planning that we should have the field open, only the playground, since we discovered that there's a gate that opens only to
Because
the
you see it
playground
at
up
Cribbs
at
Field.
Cribbs.
I just wanted to put that out there.
Right, not the field, correct.
Yeah.
Who else?
The mayor wanted to say something.
Go
Yeah.
ahead, man.
I want to make a comment, and I do agree with you, Ray, on Cribbs Field. On inclement weather, it should not be open because it digs up the ground, you know, the base or the fields. The playground should be open now that we have an access gate that we know of. As far as down by the river, the pickleball court, the basketball court, it should not be open 24 hours. We have to respect the residents down there. Years ago, before any of you, including the last council, was on, we had a lot of complaints of the basketball court at that time. They were still playing basketball at 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we put a stop to that. We closed the parks at dusk. Last week, the chief called me and said that, I think it was Thursday. Thursday was a beautiful day. It was light out till about 10 after 5. It started getting dusk, but somebody came down and then called the police and they wanted in about 10 to 5 to play, to play in the court. And they told them no. It was closed. But we do need to come up with some type of time to accommodate everybody, including the playgrounds and the basketball court, ball court. And we need to adhere by that. I mean, you people are this board is the governing body, and what you say goes. We have to respect the residents' time as far as what time we open it. I mean, like on the weekends, it shouldn't be open very early. I mean, people like to sleep in, 8 o'clock and what have you. Maybe 8:30, 9 o'clock. I have no problem with that, but it definitely needs to be closed like everything else at dusk. That's my opinion and my comment. Thank you.
Any other comments?
Yeah, I think to me the big thing is I think it's unfair to make the police put them in the position of deciding whether the weather is appropriate, whether it's temperature or precipitation or what have you. I think I personally would not be opposed to, a 24/7, opening like Jeff Pepper has suggested, as that is, what a lot of other municipalities do with their parks. But in this particular case, I agree with Ray and the mayor that, it's very close to some homes, and especially Riverbank Park and even Cribbs Field. And I think if we want to be respectful to them, that to close it at dusk and open at a reasonable hour in the morning, I think that's fine. And I think that's easy for the police to adhere to and follow, because it's a set time, and I think we should keep it consistent throughout the year. But I appreciate the chief's sentiments earlier that he seems very willing to accommodate whatever council wishes. So I appreciate that, and I appreciate what they do to keep an eye on the parks and to open and close them. So I would agree with Dr. Carpenter's earlier suggestion that maybe we set a time of opening and closing and keep it consistent and do it for both pickleball and for the playground, at the playground at both parks. So that's my thought.
I agree. I think we should do a standard time for all of them.
So would someone be willing to make a definitive motion about this that would supersede the other motion, I guess? How does that work, Craig? Is it just over?
You're changing, a new motion would supersede the other motion because you're changing what the other motion was.
Okay.
Can we make a motion? Yeah.
I'll make a motion that the parks open at 9, close at dusk or dark.
No, okay, sorry. I'd like us to come up with a definitive time for when we close it, not dusk.
Well, dusk is going to change. In the summertime, people are going to be out there later, right? No later than 10 o'clock, though, right?
Right, but then the police have to make that decision of when is dusk.
Well, that's my motion.
Well, Nancy, they close the parks at dusk anyways. If it's in the winter time, 10 to 5, the parks are supposed to be closed when it starts to get darker. In the summertime, it's usually, 9:15, 9:30. Until the time starts changing, we start losing time.
Well, if you guys think that the police are good with that, then okay, go ahead, continue. Sorry. Any second?
And just so
I'll
we're
second.
Dave Balance second, and just so we're clear, when you say the parks, we're talking about the playground and the pickleball area, not the fields.
Not the field,
Absolutely.
right?
And we are also including the basketball court.
Correct.
Correct.
Yes.
At
Just not
Riverbank.
Cribbs Field.
Right.
So the
Everything
basketball-
but Trips Field.
The basketball court at Cribs can be open. We'll have our public works guys look at the gate at Cribs to go into the playground to see that, you know, if it even moves to open or if it can be opened. I know it's a little ratty looking. I did look at it today, as a rusty old chain. So if they can, you know, unlock it and make sure that that gate is safe, that no child will get hurt, you know, how it's going to, it may need to be gated open, you know, not just swinging. So we'll have to look at that to see what's safe for the kids too. So once they look at that and we can get Cribs playground open, that'll be the thing for that.
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor by Mr. Suchovich. Did we get a second?
I second it.
Okay, Mike. Okay, Mike Forbeck. All right, any other questions or comments about this particular motion? Okay, all those in favor of having Riverbank Park open, that both playgrounds open, the basketball court and the pickleball court open at 9 a.m. and closing at dusk, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, so that's our motion. Open at 9 a.m., 7 days a week, close at dusk. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. Also at the pickleball court, there's going to be a new gate installed in the center of the court facing the river. So there'll be 2 exits. North American Fencing is going to do the work sometime in February. They were out and Jeff Pepper also had them look at the corner of the park where the hole is that goes down over the hill by the behind the pickleball court next to where the old salt shed is. North American Fencing put a bid out for $175 to have that fixed. Matt also said he had looked at it and he's going to have our guys put some fill in there as well to help with that erosion. So one of the stipulations though with the gate was that the lock be raised, the latch would be at least 5 foot high. Talked with Jeff today. So young children, if they're in there, they cannot get to the latch and run out and go down toward the river or anything like that. It's like a safety measure that we wanted to put in. So they agreed to that. But I'd like to make a motion to have North American Fencing fix the corner of where the hole is that goes down over the hill for $175. And that'll be
I'll
on
second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor for North American Fencing to fix the hole in the fencing around the pickleball court, right?
Right.
Made by Ms. Lualbo, seconded by Ray Suchovich. Any questions or comments? Okay. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Okay, that motion passed. Thank you.
Thank you. Jerry, would you be able to get in touch with the North American Fencing and let them know that we're going to have that done at the same time as the gates put in?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And last but certainly not least, Ms. Provenza.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, everyone. I'll start with newsletter. I hope you all enjoyed the newsletter. Time goes quickly. We're already starting on our spring newsletter, and the articles are going to be due on March 1st. And we're all getting better at getting to the due date. And I'm sure you noticed last newsletter made it right at the end of the month, which was great. So if you can comply with that and get your articles to us, your ads, that would be a big help to all of us. The articles can be sent to our editor, Dawn Wharf, and that would be at veronanewsroom@gmail.com. And I can be reached at 412-828-7726 for ads. And I do want to just take 1 second and thank everybody for the wonderful articles that you put in. They're great. We get many, many compliments on them. And we greatly appreciate all the businesses and all the residents that are supporting us with the ads. The ads pay the bill. So we thank you so, so very much. Next subject, Chamber of Commerce. I spoke with our president, Kevin Ewing, today, and no meetings because of the COVID, but we are going to hopefully do the Easter egg hunt if everything goes well, and again participate in the Charlie McKinley Scholarship Fund. And also renewals did not go out in December because everything was pretty much shut down. So we held back on that. But we are going to try to do that very soon. And of course, Chamber of Commerce sends best regards to everybody. Stay well and stay safe. Next subject, the Historical Society. All meetings are still canceled until further notice. And if you would like further information, you can go to veronahistory.org, and sometimes we're having information put on there. Twin Borough Ministries, they are back to doing the grab and go dinners, and that's still at the Verona Verona Methodist Church on Center Avenue, and the dinners are served from 4:30 to 6:30. And this month it will be hosted by the Presbyterian Senior Care. And many thanks to Shirley and her helpers. You continue to do a wonderful job, and many, many people sincerely appreciate you. Matter of fact, we all do. Thank you again. I also received a text, which I feel is important to our residents, to all of us. And it came from the neighborhood block watch captains, Jeff and Obie Morford. Happy New Year to all. With the holidays behind us and a new year in full swing, even though things have been relatively quiet in Verona, it's a good time to focus on personal safety and property security. In addition, keeping your doors locked when you are at home or even away from home. Please remember to remove also all valuables from your parked vehicles before you lock them. Keep an eye out for your neighbor's property, in addition to your own. And if you see something suspicious, say something. Report incidents and suspicious activity to 911, and then notify Jeff and Obie Morford so that they can send a text out to each on the block watch. And it's a text alert network is what it is. And make sure that everyone is aware of the incident. The more we watch out for each other, the safer we're all going to be. In closing, hope you all have a happy, healthy, safe, and secure new year. And it's signed Jeff and Obie Morford, Verona Block Watch Captains. And I would also like to add our Trish Hirsch Showalter. These three folks do a wonderful job keeping us safe and secure. We appreciate you. Thank you so, so very much. And in closing, Pat, thank you for 11 years of service and dedication to Verona Borough. Know that you are greatly appreciated. And my prayer is that your health will be renewed and that you and your family will all be in divine health. And I wish you and your entire family the very best. Stay well and stay safe. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
Reports of special committees. Is there anything from ALOM, Sylvia?
Yes, there is. Excuse me. The spring conference at Seven Springs was scheduled for April, or excuse me, for
Yeah, April.
yes, I'm correct. It was scheduled for April the 9th through the 12th. It has now been rescheduled for June 17th through the 20th. So we kind of go day by day with dates, but this is what it is for now. And if anything changes, I'll certainly have an update on that. And I wanted to thank my friend Jason for being here with us tonight, and his business associate, Toby. They did a wonderful job, and I thank them very, very much. They're great people to work with. I always am very honored to work with Alon. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Sylvia.
You're welcome.
Mr. Matlin, anything from COG?
No, Matt, the only update was the bid opening for the demolitions, and Matt and I discussed that earlier. So that's about it.
Is there going to be a meeting later this month?
Yeah, should be. This will be in next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. I forget, but yep.
The fourth Wednesday, I thought.
Yeah, not sure.
Can't remember.
So it'll probably be
Okay.
the 27th then.
Okay, great, thank you. And I don't know about TCC, I gotta look into that. Okay, so now council will hear comments on any items at this time. Please approach the podium. No, please raise your virtual hand and Jerry will elevate you to a panelist, and state your name and address and limit your comments to 3 minutes as much as possible. Okay, Vince Floda. Hey, where'd he go?
There you go, Vince.
Hello, Vince Floda, 323 Penn Street. Can everybody hear me?
Yep.
I just wanted to thank everybody for the nomination tonight and wish everybody a happy new year.
Thanks, Vince.
That's all I have.
Thanks, Vince.
No
Okay,
complaining
thank
tonight.
you.
Same to you, Vince.
Thanks, Vince.
Thank you.
Thanks, Vince.
Any other comments from the public? I don't see any hands.
Good.
I'm okay. All right, that being the case, then I need a motion to adjourn to exec.
I'll make that motion to adjourn to exec.
Okay, don't jump all at once. Okay, Mr. Sensovich. Who's the second?
Me, Sylvia.
Okay, Sylvia. All right.
Ray
Any-
ran right over me though, Nancy.
Sorry, I
Any
just want to get done tonight.
Any questions or comments? Any
All right.
questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay.
We stay on here, or are you gonna do another
We'll
link?
just stay
No, I
on here.
think
We'll
we
just
stay on
we'll
here.
sign off.
So we just,
I'll be right back.